It is Sunday, August 9th, and that means it is time for the weekly pitching preview brought to you by Fantasy Baseball Cafe. I'm Jason Gilbo, taking a look at two-star pitchers, a day-by-day streaming chart, a couple waiver wire ads that caught my eye for the rest of the season, and also wrapping it up with an injury report, which is a little gloomy this week with Jose Fernandez heading to the DL. So some disappointing news there, but good news is that he is not, no structural damage was found. But with him being so young, the Marlins' future guy, it's hard to see them pushing him to come back for the rest of the season. So not sure when we'll see him. Heading to two-star pitchers this week, it's headlined by a lot of aces and also a lot of crap. To be honest, not a lot to like. A lot of prospects going. Guys like Henry Owens, John Gray, who I'll talk about a little bit later. You got Boyd for out in Detroit. Just not a lot to like in the mid-tiers and lower ends, but there are a couple ones that catch my eye. But of course, they're risky. Some of the studs getting the ball this week twice. Madison Bumgarner gets 2 home starts. Of course, we like him a lot better when he's at home. He's got a 4-something ERA on the road, and that's cut in half when he's pitching at AT&T Park. So good news for them there. Zach Greinke, Johnny Cueto, Chris Sale, Matt Harvey also all get the ball. Carlos Carrasco, who is pitching against the Yankees, which may be a little bit worrisome for some people, but he holds left-handed bats pretty well. Of course, he's not pitching in Yankee Stadium, so he doesn't get that short porch out there, so that's nice. I'm still starting Carrasco against the Yankees this week if you're interested. So if you're looking to grab a streamer, there's some risky options. Wei-Yin Chen for the Baltimore Orioles. It was originally Miguel Gonzalez, but he started one day earlier, so that kind of threw everything off. Chen's going to head out to the Northwest. He's going to face the Mariners, and then back at home to face the A's. So 2 weaker offenses. Of course, I like that the Mariners is on the road because they do have some bats from the left side. They just have more of a power standpoint comparing to the A's, so I like that the A's are at home. So it's a nice 2-star week for him. My concern with Chen has always been the fly ball rate. But he gets a boost in the first matchup for the park factor. And then the A's have a low team ISO that I'm not really too worried about. Both are kind of fairly mediocre against left-handed pitching. The A's don't strike out as much, while the Mariners carry a just slightly above league average strikeout rate. Chen's got a nice 20% strikeout rate, 3.32 ERA on the season. Hasn't been that bad, but he's always known to be a blow-up or two just because the ground ball rate is pretty poor. But I like trotting him out there this week. It's not bad. And like I said, there's a lot of prospects going this week that have made their either debut last week and are now getting 2 starts. And one is John Gray for the Colorado Rockies. Didn't look bad. Didn't look good either in his first game here. At home against the Mariners. 2 earned runs over 4 innings. Of course, you'd like to see him go deeper into the game. But obviously, first game, you get the jitters. He faces 2 weaker offenses this week. He'll face the Padres and the Mets. Padres is at home in Coors, but Padres offense has been terrible. The Mets offense has looked a little better, but still, I'm going to take the larger sample size and say he's got a nice matchup with the Mets. Gray supported a nice 54% ground ball rate, which is pretty crucial for pitching in Coors in one of the game. He's worth a look in deeper leagues for 2 starts, especially if you're trying to get from behind here. So outside of that, we're looking at Taylor Youngman for the Milwaukee Brewers if he's not picked up already. Joe Ross has got 2 tough matchups with the Dodgers and the Giants. This is kind of going to see where we stand with Joe Ross. Of course, he's going to be a nice prospect. I mean, he kicked Fister out there to the bullpen. So Ross has got a nice roster spot in that rotation spot now. But of course he's playing the Giants and the Dodgers, which is going to be a tough matchup. I'm likely going to be trotting him out there and just seeing what he can do anyway if I own him. I can't see him blowing up too bad with how well he's pitched so far. He's going to pitch in 2 bigger ballparks, especially out in San Francisco. The Dodgers' offense is certainly slumped a little bit, and they're kind of hurting as well without Justin Turner in the lineup. It kind of made things go. So I'm not really too worried about him. Looking ahead at day-by-day streamers, John Neese really catches my eye for the Mets in Monday here. Colorado has a 24.4% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching, and now they have taken over the dead last ranking there with um, WRC plus against left-handed pitching. Then you can also take, that's the start Gray has. So those two are matching up. I'd rather take Nice on that side here. I think a nice quality start. Nice has been pitching pretty well this season. Looking ahead Tuesday, Rosman Ramirez for Tampa. He's going to take on a battered Braves lineup at home without Freddie Freeman. Offense has just been abysmal. We saw them really struggle against some poor Marlins pitching. So if Matt Schumacher's floating around still, he is coming off a really nice couple of starts here with about 27 strikeouts, and he hasn't allowed an earned run in those three. He'll take on the White Sox, so it's a nice matchup for him as well. But I'm staying away for his second start later on in the week against Kansas City. Don't strike out too much. They kind of ground out at bats, so tough luck for him there. Wednesday, Eduardo Rodriguez is going to face the Marlins, who are just now prime targets for streaming pitchers against. And Andrew Heaney is going to face the White Sox, and the White Sox are just as bad as the Rockies against left-handed pitching. Looking at it Thursday, not a lot to like there. Short slate, so nothing really to work with that I feel comfortable using. Friday, we're looking at Robbie Ray for the Diamondbacks, who I keep targeting against with my hitters here, but he keeps coming up in the clutch here. He's been pitching pretty well. So squaring off against the Braves, Braves have a nice higher strikeout rate against lefties than they do right-handed pitching. So I like Ray, and then of course Corbin's going to get them on Saturday. So I like those two in back-to-back situations. Jaime Garcia is going to face the Marlins. So of course we're just kind of tackling the middle or the NL East here. So Saturday, Miguel Gonzalez, kind of in a similar situation for Chen, low ground ball rates, and faces Oakland with a weak ISO. So Jimmy Nelson versus the Red Hot Phillies but Nelson's been pitching really good. Outside of today, he made the one mistake to Matt Carpenter, who is scorching hot with like 7 homers in the last 10 games. So the one mistake really hurt him today, but Nelson's been pitching very well. So I like him against the Phillies. And then Patrick Corbin should still be out there, less than 30% owned in Yahoo, and just about 35% owned in ESPN. So I like Corbin. I'm going to talk about him a little later here as a pickup. So he gets a nice matchup against the Braves. And then Sunday, we're looking at Chen in the second start. And then outside of that, not a lot to like on Sunday. So looking forward for the rest of the season, we're kind of coming into crunch time here. And a guy who's catching my eye for the Oakland A's is Chris Bassitt. Threw another great start today against the Houston Astros, allowing 1 earned and worked into the 7th, striking out 10. Coming off another good start against the Baltimore Orioles, striking out 7, working deep into the game. Is he the real deal? It's a real small sample size, but there is a lot to like. 2.64 ERA and a 3.69 FIP. Ground ball rate is low, but it's a little easier to swallow playing in Oakland, so I like that. I mean, the guy's only allowed more than 2 earned runs once in 6 starts, and that one start was allowing 3 earned runs, so he hasn't really had a blow-up yet this season. I like him in deeper leagues or AL leagues. Looking forward for the rest of the season. I mean, you gotta like these A's pitchers too. It was a bummer that Jesse Hahn went down, but Bassitt's really picked up the slack there. I find him as the number 2 guy behind Sonny Gray is kind of my option for fantasy there, going down the depth chart. So looking at number 2, the number 2 guy I have, Nathan Eovaldi, double-digit game winner. He's been pitching pretty well. 3.09 ERA in July. He's only allowed 1 earned in one start here in August so far, and that was against the Blue Jays. Eovaldi's really tough on right-handed bats, but his biggest struggle comes against left-handed lineups. So of course when he's pitching against teams like the Orioles, Indians, those kind of teams who have maybe 3 or 4 guys that can really hurt him from the left side, he hits the bench for me. But overall, I mean, he's probably going to start maybe 2 out of every 3 starts you get him, so it's not too bad. I mean, the reason that's concerning is because he's allowed a 373 WOBA to left-handed bats this season and a 345 in his career, so you just kind of have to watch for his opponents there. Third guy here, Patrick Corbin. His ownership's pretty low still. 11.7% swinging strike rate. Really working the slider in as the season goes on, which wasn't the case earlier in the season. And that swinging strike rate is up more than his career normal, so I really like him there. ERA is at a mediocre level. He left the game really early in Washington after allowing 3 earned runs in the first inning and a third. So that's really why it's up there. But overall, he's been pretty solid this season, and we know what he can do. He's a pretty solid lefty in the past, backed by a nice offense. Of course, he's always pitched well out in the desert there, so I like that. Wrapping up here with a quick injury report. Jose Fernandez, strained right bicep, going to hit the 15-day DL. Like I said, no structural damage found, so that's good news for him and us. If you own him, you just got to put him back in the DL. I saw a couple questions here about what to do with him. Keeper league, you definitely, you're hanging on to him. The guy just has too much talent to drop him and hope to draft him again. I'm waiting it out. I'm looking forward to 2016 with him fully healthy. Next guy, Mike Leake, headed to San Francisco. Really liked his value going up now. Has a strained hamstring. It's going to hit the DL, so kind of tough look there. One guy I'm really worried about is A.J. Burnett. Going to miss August at the least. And given the fact that he said he could have very well thrown his last pitch, doesn't give me a lot of hope for him the rest of the season. If you have a couple DL spots open, of course, you can toss him in there. Other than that, I'm dropping him and just going to pick up another guy because I don't think Burnett's going to pitch for the rest of the year. And quite frankly, his career could be done, which is a little disappointing. Pitching really well at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Guy who's been in this league a very long time. And Pirates obviously needed him, for the playoffs. So it's a little disappointing. So unless you have empty DL spots, I would drop him. That's going to wrap it up because I always like to end the show with bad news, of course, on the injury report. Just kidding, but for some good news, we're looking at Corey Kluber next week. He gets the Twins again, and he's got that nice 2-star week there. So, or not 2 starts. Gets the Twins next this coming up week. Nearly threw a no-hitter. He worked that into the 7th there. Looked really good. So for you frustrated Kluber owners, get ready for another nice week from him. He's been pitching pretty well. So that's going to wrap it up.